welcome to Disc Review TV Trivia. And Luz Maria just gave us a great example of how to keep it reinforced. Luz Maria, how many folks would you say you've trained with DISC so far? And when did you get DISC certified?
Last year, and
right.
I work at a hospital, so the
right.
ambulatory clinics. That was really phenomenal about the DISC was that it's very hard to get providers, the doctors, to go to the training, and they actually made time to come, and they loved it, and it's really a milestone when you get to train a doctor. So they love it.
Well, I remember you were having a doctor that was basically demanding then you do it for his team. And
actually, he's the one. Yeah, one of the providers actually requested it for his entire team. Everyone from the providers to the medical assistants, nurses, even the admin, the office people, the directors.
Would you write that up just at least like a little brief paragraph, and I tell you what you do that, and that's going to equal 10 complimentary assessments. How's that?
Okay, I certainly will. I can do that.
Good.
I can certainly type that up.
Because that's a real acid test, a doctor.
Oh yeah, I've been here for 7 years, and it's very, very hard to get them to come to training because of their schedule.
Yeah, but that's great. I can't hardly wait till you do yours, and we can reveal. Okay, this wonderful job. That's awesome. Candace, how about you with, when did you get DISC certified again, Candace? And
I think it was September of last year, October.
Yes, that last year, right. Okay.
On the point last year. Yes, and what I'm currently using DISC for, we're a small organization. So what I've started doing is anytime a new supervisor or leader type of person comes in, I do DISC training with them as far as teaching them their communication style and how they can communicate with their team. I typically will do the phone training that we went over, and I've also, you and I talked maybe a month or so ago about developing something between the phone screen and the full 2-hour. So I've been working on the 60-minute one. So I've actually developed a 60-minute one that I'd like to start using for those who want more DISC training just on an individual basis. And we have a new HR team member that recently joined, so I'll be doing a group training. I've already completed the PowerPoint. So I'll be doing a group training with the HR team probably in the fall.
Okay.
And we use it as part of the recruiting process. So I send DISC assessments to top candidates that we want to hire just as learning a little bit more about them.
Oh, that's fantastic. Are you open, Candace, to sharing your PowerPoint with other graduates?
Sure. It's not too different than one of the 60-minute ones you have up there. I just manipulated it more for our current company.
Right.
But yes, I'll tweak it out and send it to you once it's perfect.
Okay.
Shareable.
Once you send that to me, you get 10 complimentary.
Awesome. Perfect.
Because one of the ways I was able to really build the over 200 free DISC resources is because of you folks, either collaborating with you or you were willing to share it with your other graduates. So that would be phenomenal. That would be awesome. And congratulations on you've really implemented it great in a short period of time.
I love it.
Yeah. Yay! That's what we're going for. And then let's see here. June. Now, June, when did you graduate again, the certification?
It was just May this year.
May this year. Great. Okay.
And
have you?
As an organization, we intentionally decided to wait until I returned from some time off to really kick off relaunch the DISC, if you will, because we've used it in the past.
Oh, right. Okay, love it. Okay.
A list of about 28 people who their managers want them to take it, and I'll be doing one-on-ones and then some group sessions for better understanding of communication and work style, and folks are real excited to have it back.
Oh, that is so great. Well, and if I may say too, it's going to be back with even more of an orientation towards application. Because you've got all the...
There was no group training in the past to really understand, well, what does this mean for email communication? What does this mean for conversation? You know,
right.
what can I expect when I walk into this executive's office? You know, here's their style. Do they want to have a personal conversation first, or do they want me to get right to the point?
Right, exactly, right. It's like, hello, you know, if you want to really connect, the disc can get you there quickly and effectively, which is great. You know, it reminds me, June, I was talking to someone yesterday who's considering the certification, and I always like to find out how people have been using DISC or background of the organization with DISC, and they said, oh, well, it was about 5 years ago. It was kind of hit and miss, and no one really explained the DISC, and of course you probably know my reaction. What? But I contained myself. But the way you folks are doing it, you know, where it's where you can one-on-one coaching, I know you always can't, but with doing the training where it's application oriented, and then like with also wonderful reinforcement like Luz Maria is doing, and then your folks, the DISC tips, are your folks, June, getting the DISC tips?
Not yet.
Okay, so here is just a thought, by the way, for all of you, in fact. You can email me people's email addresses, and we'll just add them to the distribution, and so they don't have to go in there and then do the whole sign up, and they'll start to receive the DISC ASAP. So, you know, for all the folks, June, that have done it and you want them to receive the DISC tips, just let me know. And same thing, you know, for any of you, or let's say you're gonna be doing a training soon, and you want the folks to start learning about DISC. So, and remember, in this version, you know, I'm not doing any marketing. In the version, you folks, you receive the same, graduates receive the same content, but below, instead of just kind of this reference, and I encourage you, if you have any questions, contact me, but you get the reference to, say, today's, like DISC review or additional resources been added. So right. I highly recommend for all of you, please just, you know, if you want to do an Excel spreadsheet, I don't need their names. We just need their email addresses. So is that something you might be interested in doing, June?
Let me think on it just a bit.
Okay.
Our communication is pretty email intensive, so okay. I want to be sure that that's something that would be seen sure. as a value add.
Got it. Okay. Well, you know, a good point is, the thought is that maybe it gets sent out saying, would you like to receive
right.
it? Might be a piece. And Luz Maria, do you know if your folks are receiving the DISC tips, or has that been a part of reinforcing?
Well, I certainly would like that as a reinforcement. I know they would love that.
Okay.
So in all my future classes, I can certainly do that. That is,
okay.
I think
great.
I'm glad that you changed it on the website. You made it new. I mean, you changed it right. It looks really nice. Yeah. In fact, my thank you website kind of overhauled it, and thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, great. And you know, we have it now, so they have the option to opt in. It's not an automatic where people get it. But what I do find is that folks later on, when they find out, oh, this is really good stuff, then they want to opt in. So if you can actually, I would say, include, in fact, I should put that in the PowerPoint as a regular piece, in terms of how you could easily, you know, reinforce it into the PowerPoint. Because, you know, it's just a small chunks, and it's about 10 series. And then, let's see, Kathy, now, I know you were certified with me long time ago, which was awesome. And you're hoping to get it started maybe in the current organization, or you're passed with the DISC. Do you want to explain a little?
Sure. So the first folks that I did, yes, I got certified with you long ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's my homage to Tom.
Right.
And I've done it for my HR partners here. And so we want to Yeah, we want to expand it to the organization, but right now it's just HR.
Yeah, no, but that's great. Okay, for organizations that haven't had any of this, this is like, wow, So, what I encourage is, first of all, also you make sure your boss is on board, and then you do, just like you said, Kathy, with your HR, your immediate group, and they get all psyched about it. And if it's an HR group, they support other business units, and their brain starts to go click, 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 how this can help their managers and their teams. So it just naturally, organically, as a lot of you know, grows. Luz Maria, had your organization used DISC before?
No, actually they didn't. Not before, but it is I think the word of mouth after the first class is that report that we get. They love that report, especially the C's.
because there's so much verbiage here, right?
Yeah, but no, the directors like the actual capability to be able to give them the team reference, that quadrant. They love that. I give that to every class that I do, and they really do that. I think that report is absolutely amazing.
Good. Yay! Okay, I'll pay you later on that one. Okay, so now and then Steve, you're going to be. But Steve, how about if you go ahead and just rock and roll? Just tell them what your plans are.
So. Work in law enforcement here in North Carolina. We're having a leadership academy we're starting up here, and we're going to implement DISC in that leadership academy within our agency first and foremost. And then from there, we'll go external.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. It's so exciting. That is great. It's great. I didn't hear anybody mention how you've used it, particular part of a leadership series. Has anybody done that yet? It doesn't sound like it. Okay, that's a real also common use of it. In fact, several of them talk about it in those recordings I was sharing with you earlier. I'm also just going to do a quick little plug for the Facebook. Just verbally let me know and just say your name. Who's actually currently using or on with Facebook?
I am.
Okay, June. That's right. I've seen you quite a bit. Okay, and anybody else? Okay, highly recommend. It is a closed group. Cindy Maloney, who is a graduate. This one's so funny. Constantly putting a new post every day about how the DISC. And has anybody seen The Great Outdoors? I haven't, but I saw this video clip. Anyway, great, too funny with the guys here. Let's see, I wonder if I can play it just real quick. Let's see if you hear it. Oh, well, let's see if my...
Good look. I'll tell you what I see when I look out there, if you want to know. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious. I see the underdeveloped resources of northern Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. I see a syndicated development consortium exploiting over $1 billion. I see a paper mill and a strategic metals and mining operation. A greenbelt between the condos on the lake and a waste management facility focusing on the newest range in toxic waste, medical refuse. Infected bandages, body parts, IV tubing, contaminated glassware, entrails, syringes, fluid, blood, low-grade radioactive waste, all safely contained, sunken in the lake, and sealed for centuries. Now, I ask you, what do you see? I just see trees.
Anyway, is that like great? So, yeah, is that beautiful? So Cindy's done a marvelous job adding these. She puts also, I love it, some, oh, by the way, just a little plug here. I am running a special. I discovered that 60% of my clients actually are my business in terms of that you send more folks to get this certified. So I am running a special with $1,000 off. I am thinking about extending it 1 week because I've asked on several requests of that. So if you are thinking another peer getting certified, encourage you to take advantage. So she does some of the different movies and gives you a blurb, energy line, articles, any learning activities. We do take these, by the way, and put them on this is great for July 4th, different presidents. We do put them on the resources. So I tell you what, if you folks today, and I'm going to make note of it, if you do sign up, because I want to keep reinforcing you folks, keep learning, then I will give you a complimentary DISC assessment. I am big, I believe what Ken Blanchard says, reinforce what you want repeated. So I want to reinforce you folks continuing to get as much support and education with DISC as you can. Okay, does that sound good to folks? Yep. You guys like that idea?
Yeah.
Is that a yes, yes? Okay. All right. Let's now go to TV trivia. Has anybody used the TV trivia learning activity? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So by the way I get there, to all this is, going to the home page, you're going to resources. You may need to put in the password. I keep reinforcing this. Who knows what the password is? And type it in, and tell you what, it'll be worth 3 complimentary assessments. Oh, great. Sherry's joining us. Anybody knows? Kathy, great. Okay, you just got 3. And by the way, Luz Maria, great examples that you shared, and actually in June, and Candace, you each are going to get 3. And Steve, you were on bright and early. I'm giving you 3. You folks. You're welcome. You're welcome. So going to the resources page, by the way, that password really doesn't change. You're welcome, Candace. Then you're going to, welcome, Sherry.
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, we understand. And actually, I was kind of doing some little extra plus stuff and people sharing, so we're now just actually getting to TV trivia.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and now Sherry, have you used this activity, TV trivia?
I have not. The only one I've used is the vacation. Which,
okay.
No, I have not.
Oh, that's great. Okay, let's just take a quick look at that. And was anybody else on the video webinar that I did on selling vacation? Or that back then we were calling it going on vacation? Anybody else? Okay. So this is the one where, let me blow it up a little bit. By the way, who knows what my disc styles are? They're a combination.
Yours?
Yeah, mine.
I
Yes, high I and a high D, 98, 98. So what was that, Kathy? And who else guessed mine? Was it June?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you get another one. So I look at the Thursday disc reviews as I'm reviewing them, but obviously you could tell it's a much more informal. I want it where you can ask questions, we can share with one another, and I'm certainly going to be covering the item I said I was going to, but I look to how can I share other information with you too. Again, and always feel free to kind of ask questions. So did you use, I'm curious, Sherry, did you use this handout for the selling the vacation?
I did, but I tell you what I did. Instead of giving, I broke them up into 4 groups. Right. I broke the D's, the I's, the C, and the S's. So instead of giving them the whole entire sheet,
right,
I actually had just for the D's on one sheet, just for the I's on one sheet.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't want them to confuse or try to oversell to more than one audience, so I broke it down to 4 different sheets.
Okay. I was just thinking, Sherry, I think I jumped the gun. Would you tell folks what this activity is all about and how you do it and what's the purpose?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you how I did it. I had a quick presentation time to kind of sell the concept of DISC. So I just quickly went over the PDF that you provided, the color PDF with the 4 quadrants.
Right.
And I highlighted each of the communication styles. I then asked everyone to identify their style. And I had them look in one of the corners, the 4 corners. So they didn't know what they were going to do. They didn't know anything about selling at that point.
I love it. Okay.
Stand in their own corners. And then when I did that, I actually handed them the handout. And I asked them to take their color poster with them. And I said, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to sell. So I actually gave them, I have some mobile dry erase boards. So I gave them that, and then I gave them 4 different colors of dry erase markers. And so what I is, depending on the style, is, of course, the S's and the C's used all 4 colors, and then you just use the black, that kind of thing. Yeah. And so I had them at the end, I gave them about 10 minutes to come up with a flyer, and then I had them present to the whole entire group.
Oh, I love the, and was the whiteboard just because they're going to want to change it a lot and you don't have to go through lots of pieces of paper?
I did that, but then I also did it because of the meeting area. So I didn't want them to be able to change and erase, but I used dry erase boards, and then I used what's called cling sheets that have static electricity. So if you don't have whiteboards, it just sticks to any wall. So it's just really a good, it's one of my trainer's tricks that I've used for probably 8 years now.
What is it called?
They're called cling sheets.
Cling sheets.
C-L-I-N-G, cling.
And where do you get these?
You can go to Trainer's Warehouse. I think Sam's sells online. Office Depot, Staples, they all have those.
Oh, I love it. Okay, you just earned 3 complimentary too. That's awesome. That is awesome. And what I was going to say, just to kind of to add to that, that's awesome, Sherry, is what we're doing here is this is about application. So this is certainly after, like you said, you've gone over the DISC, and I love it. I love the piece here that you do. I'm just giving a small little group, and they would be fine of sharing. I love it that you're giving this to everybody, which is a perfect way to help them see the other styles, and then they have it in front of them. Love it. And so then the assignment is folks are going to be designing a vacational promotional poster for their opposite style. So then that's why we have it here for the D's. They're going to need to be doing it for the S's. And so then I love it. So what you did for the D's, and you just gave them this, hey, remember what S's, I love it, like harmony, predictable, loyal. Okay, I love it. And then be ready to sell the S's on your vacation. I love it. So and I love the quadrant. And then the example we have here is I took some pictures. Did you happen to take any pictures? I would love to get them.
I didn't. I will next time. I did not. It was cool. I should have.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, trust me, over the years, I'm like, why didn't I? Anyway. I mean, but here, when you use flip chart, what you'll find, okay, so the D's are supposed to be doing it for the S's, right? But you'll find often that it takes them several sheets to kind of really get how to stretch. So oh, that's right. No, this is the S's. We're doing it for the D's. Sorry. So the S's were kind of just being very planful and where, when, cost. And I said, I'm not seeing the excitement there for the D's. Okay, so then they did it again. And the C's did it for the I's. Which style, by the way, do you think typically anybody does the best on this activity? Anybody have a guess which style? You know what? You would think so, right? But the eyes, okay, are doing it for the C's, and to be honest with you, Steve, they have the worst amount of trouble because, I mean, this is probably like the third sheet, and this is finally the fifth sheet. They want to make it Yahoo fun, like all these colors.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you have to usually, did you find that too, that for the eyes, Sherry, that they were wanting to make it
very colorful and exciting, and yeah.
Yeah.
Chauffeur-driven limos, I mean, just got really into it.
Yeah. So what I encourage you to do is you're walking around saying, okay, now what style are you doing this for?
Yeah.
So, you know, I find it's the eyes, believe it or not. I have to keep coming back to reminding them hello. But the ones that do it best typically are the C's because do you find that too, Sherry?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think that is, Sherry? Why do you think that is?
I just think because they're very conscientious of making sure people pleasers, you know,
right.
Me making sure I have everything, probably have too much, which can be overwhelming, but you just want to make sure you get everything for everyone.
That's right. And also I find that they kind of look at it like, oh, we get to make fun of the eyes. You know, I mean, I've had others where they do Mardi Gras and whatever. But here's the funny thing. The C's think they're making fun of the eyes. What do you think the eyes' reaction was to this promotional poster? Anybody?
Oh, hey, you get it.
Yeah, exactly, Sue. They're like, I'm there. I'm totally there. And the C's eyes are like bugged out of their head, you know, because they're like, we did this to make fun of you. And the eyes are like, I don't care. You know, we're taking it. I mean, it's fun. Yeah, it's also a fun activity to do towards the end of a training too, kind of a high type of thing. And then and then you've got the D's. Then you've got the D's doing it for the S's, you know, and they were just listing things. They didn't have a palm tree the first time, and I said you might want to add. And they're like, and you know, the S's do have to do with people. All right, you know, so a lot of fun. Highly recommend. All right, thanks, Sherry. That was great. Let's go now to TV trivia, and go right here and enlarge this. So the TV trivia, actually you can use this in an initial training, or you could use it as part of a follow-up training. So you would have, say, on an example, say on your flip chart here, the name of a TV show or a movie. Here, Gilligan's Island. It's kind of now retro, come back. So it's amazing to me all the generations that are familiar with it. But you have, first it's listing the characters. Then it's the behaviors. Okay, and then it's the disc style. You don't want them to kind of jump to the disc style. We're really trying to help folks to identify the behaviors that go with each one. And then you put them in small groups. I think it's best to kind of mix them up, you know, the different styles. You know, especially sometimes too, in your organization or in a particular team, it might be heavy SCs or whatever. So then by having it just kind of a random mix, then you're not having to worry about, oh, I only have, you know, 2 C's and, you know, the rest are D's and I's. Anyway, that makes it a bit easier. So they're doing this, you know, I say on a flip chart. I do encourage that you are walking around and seeing how folks are doing, because they're going to say report back to the group, and you do want them to have this as accurate as possible. Okay, so because they sometimes, you know, now if it's close, whatever, then to me that just helps it to be like a rich discussion. Okay, you know, that's fine. I always want people to kind of look their best, you know, right off the bat. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a TV show. It might be a movie. It might be a book. You know, it's just that small group, okay, needs to come up with something that they know. Let me show you an example. There we go. So the Bang, it was a team 3. So the Big Bang Theory, and these folks really kind of got into it, you know, very detailed. the Golden Girls, okay, which were great. And of course, this is generating a lot of humor, you know, and a lot of the sitcoms, right? They're going to have the different styles because that helps to create funny situations, you know, kind of conflict situations.
Hey, Bonnie, quick question. Do you allow the team to pick their show, or do you pick it for them?
They pick their show.
Okay.
Yeah, but what I do is kind of walk around, you know, because sometimes, bless their hearts, if there's a lot of SCs in particular groups,
yeah,
you know, they're, yeah.
You have time debating.
Yes. So what I also will do is I'll say, okay, you're in your small groups because you want activities moving along. So what I like to do is so have them select a discussion leader who's responsible for keeping them on track, as well as they contribute. And so I'll say, maybe some of you, well, I know, Kathy, you've heard this, where I'll say, okay, everybody point to one person in your group. And it's kind of fun because you're never supposed to point at people, right? So now they get to break the rules. Of course, the C's have issues with that, come to think of it. But anyway, point to one person, and then I say who got the most fingers pointing at them, which is kind of a funny thing to say. And those folks, I say, well, you're the discussion leader, and they're kind of like, and I said, well, you get to select the person who's going to be the scribe. And then I say, okay, I'm going to give you about 5-7 minutes. So you want to, you know, be selecting that show like within a minute. And then I'm walking around making sure, because yes, there are styles that'll just take way too long. And you want to have some suggestions in your back pocket, you know, like right here, MASH or Friends, Golden Girls. And also you can go to, let's go back to, we have one now, Disc TV, so that Cindy's added. So click on it, and then it'll tell you down here, like, what's the breakdown. And Seinfeld, we have friends there. By the way, Disc TV, we put this underneath here, Wonder Woman. Has anybody seen the Wonder Woman movie?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
I wish they had hired me. In fact, I would have done it for free. But it's not, anyway, she's least good, let's put it that way. She's doing good to the world. Anyway, and this will keep growing. In fact, you saw some more on Facebook. So you want to have, you know, several suggestions for them, you know, if they're kind of stuck. But you do want to, when they are writing, or you could do it for them, just always takes a little bit of time, doesn't it? To, on a flip chart, to jot it out for them, you know, character, behavior, and style. So that helps to reinforce, because we want folks to be teaching them, reinforcing, observe the behavior, and then that tells you goes to the style. We want them to think a little bit before they just kind of jump to conclusions. Any questions on this, folks?
No, makes sense.
Okay, so let's take a look at where you might insert it, okay, in a lesson plan. And by the way, I've converted the lesson plans now to Excel spreadsheets because I found that it's a lot easier to change things than a Word document, which shocked me. So minutes, slide number, what the topic is basically about, report, if you wanted any notes in there. So let me ask you folks, so where do you think you might insert TV trivia? Looking at this lesson plan. Is it large enough? Can you all see it okay? Maybe I'd make it a little bit larger. Okay, is that large enough? Anybody? Are you guys there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. So okay. tell you what, whoever walks on the wild side giving me a suggestion will get just giving a suggestion, you'll get 5 complimentary.
A suggestion.
Okay. All right, June. You get 5.
I'm sorry, about what?
Yeah, no, go for it. Where do you think we would insert the TV trivia in the lesson plan? Where it might make sense?
Somewhere in applying DISC.
Right, exactly.
Somewhere to kind of break it up, to make it more interactive and fun.
I agree, because they have to know the styles before they can pick that.
Right.
Before they can pick the show, they actually have to understand the styles.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Think about maybe instead of a country story to actually put it in that, because there you've got the class to get up and practice and reach. So practice to give them a mental break, if you will, and kind of get the creative juices flowing with the TV program. So
correct.
I would put it there.
Yeah, exactly. So let's look at the PowerPoint. And by the way, so June, I've marked it. You get 5. Sherry, you get 3 backing up, and 3 more for Sherry as well. It pays to be on these, doesn't it?
It does. More ways than one.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't get any.
What was that, Luce Marie? Yeah, no, you get 3. Didn't I say 3? I'm sorry. Yes, I marked you for 3.
Does it count if you put it in the chat box?
Oh, absolutely. After overview, basics, and Candace at the end of the natural.
I was wrong, but I answered first.
Yes, you did. Okay. Well, Candace, then you get 5 as well. And then Steve, you get 3. Okay. So let's go to the country. Okay. Now, and also, by the way, so June, you're using the country analogy when you did the training, right?
I haven't done the training for a group yet, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, waiting till. Got it. Okay. Luce Maria, you use the country? Okay. And Sherry?
No, I use the gym a lot.
You use the what a lot?
The gym. An exercise with building a gym.
You exercising in a gym?
No, building a gym.
Oh, building a gym.
An exercise gym. That's the one I usually use.
Okay. And how does that tie into the languages? Or is that an exercise just to see how the different folks do it? Is that how you're?
That's just the different styles, and they get it. It's very effective with the time frame I have. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know your audience. That's what I encourage, definitely. And then Candace.
Yes, I use it, and I adapt it to one of my travels.
I was going to say, which country?
Italy, actually.
Do you use
ordering coffee in Italy and trying to do it like you're in America versus actually in Italy? I learned that.
Oh, okay. So what's the little scenario that you use with that?
So when I went to Italy, I was in college, and I just didn't do a lot of research. It was a last-minute trip. So I basically tried to order my coffee in Venice like I was in Starbucks. And, of course, the words are different. The sizes are different. And I got it was pretty much like solidified espresso in like a tablespoon measurement, and it did not work for me. So learning how to actually order the way the Italians do, try to come across less American, but adapting to what they're used to, I was able to actually start ordering what I really wanted, and I try to add a little anecdote in there.
That's great. Okay, beautiful. Oh, okay, that definitely was worth 5, Candace.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Go to Italy again for 5 more of those. Thank you.
There you go. All right, you go. I love it. You know what's great is you give example if you stretch and it worked for you, or you stretch and something humorous. What it helps to demonstrate is your role modeling. And you're not, there is the value. I didn't stretch, and this is what could happen. And that's one thing I love about the disc also, is there's wonderful levity that goes with it. You know, and I think that's one of its secrets to its magic, is there isn't judgment. You know, it's kind of like, oh, I hadn't looked at it that way. You know, that's like awesome. That is great. That's great. That's great. Beautiful. Okay, so after this, then is what we're saying. Then maybe insert. Okay, why to stretch? Could go through the 21, 22. But I think you're right, Sherry, about I would insert it, you know, after you've done the country. Okay. Now you might be saying, well, how do we do this, you know, in terms of time? I'm curious, how many of you, does anybody have 4 hours in a training session to do?
I do.
Okay, Lisa Maria. Okay.
Program, so I am going to make it an all day.
Oh, fantastic! Wow. What kind of group is it? Is it a team? Is it leadership? What is it?
Leadership.
Fantastic. Okay. Oh, speaking of which, then, have you seen the leadership disc worksheet that Melissa came up with?
I have not.
Okay. Okay. Before I do that, so. If you, by the way, we're going to be using the TV trivia as a follow-up piece, which is a great kickoff, I still would do like a brief kind of overview of like what the model is, and then that's a fun way to use TV trivia, is to kind of like get them back in the game right away. So you're not, you know, in the beginning you were right, you have to do a lot of explanation and education. But after you've done a brief overview, you can kind of get into the fun of a TV trivia for a follow-up one. Okay, so anybody have any questions on the TV trivia? Okay, so where do you guys find it? Where do you find the TV trivia?
Resources page,
the resources
folder.
Right. So you're going to be, you know, you're on the home page, you're going up to resources, you may have to put in the password, which Kathy, thank you, gave us, the 1, 2. It's, by the way, it's a lowercase k and a lowercase c. It is case sensitive. 1031 is when I adopted my dog. 1, 2, KC 1031. And then we went over, here's the disc videos. For the best practices, great. And then it's going to be here, learning activities. And then these are alpha here. You know, before I show you the management, I want to show you another activity, which any of you, have I done the cartoon with? Have I done this cartoon with you?
No, I haven't seen it.
No.
Okay. So this is fun. It's public domain because the gentleman has moved on in life. So you're asking the folks to identify what is her, disc style, and you remind them not just what she's saying, but look at, remember, disc, what does disc measure, anybody? What does disc measure, written or verbal?
Style.
Style, right. And along with that, it's the observable behavior. Okay.
Right.
So the observable behavior helps us to identify, in fact, what one's style is. So we're having folks look at the observable behavior. So I've given you a minute to kind of read all these. So what style do you think the upper left? Aren't you pleased? I made you enough sandwiches for a whole year. So just shout it out. What do you think the style is?
I.
An I. Okay. Possibility. And anybody else?
An S.
It could be an S.
An S. Okay. So here's the deal. This is the trickiest one, because the I, Candace, you selected I because why?
Of the four, it seemed the most positive. Oh, I guess the one on the top right is kind of positive too. But that was the S was the other one I was kind of thinking of too.
Yeah. So you're right, because the I and S, remember, they're both people oriented. So,
I think it depends on your delivery on the top left. Because if you
true.
throw it together with the right delivery, it might come across as a little more I.
Right. But who are my high I's in the group? Luz Maria.
I'm a high C, I. High C, high I.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So the high I's in the group, would you be making the same sandwich day in and day out?
Oh no, different.
Okay.
And then I'd want somebody to help me. I wouldn't do all that by myself.
Exactly.
I like people in the kitchen with me.
Yeah. I's are so like, we don't want to do this alone. We want to make it a party, whatever we're going to do. I mean, the folks that work for me, I want them here in the office working with me. I don't want virtual. I want that energy working around me. So you're right, the delivery matters, but it's really looking at the behavior is just a resounding S because of the plan. But the S's do definitely want that kind of approval. So it's a tricky one. We could go SI, how that? Now, like you were saying, the upper right, I don't know what this is, but it's new and improved, so it must be good. Okay, so, and by the way, you know, I warn folks, I make fun of each style a little bit, you know, so it's like nobody lose sleep over this. But the I's are known for like, oh, look, something shiny just flew by, or, you know, a little distracted. Okay, so anybody, the bottom left, the car wash never gets it clean. Anybody?
C.
C. Yeah, C. Now, I've had some folks say a D, but I let them know a D would buy a new car before they ever did this. Okay. All right. That just is not what they're going to be doing. And then the bottom one, what are you asking me for? I'm not saying D's can't do great customer service, but the next question is, why would they do that? Okay. So kind of a fun, quick, let's say you were going to do a little management overview and you need just kind of a quick little activity where they're going to do have a little bit of laughter. And then here is the instructions, you know, so right above it. And then I'm kind of giving you an explanation. You know, like I said, the upper left, common mistake, because you see, you know, the word pleasing, but, you know, typically. But I'll give you an S lowercase I. How's that? Okay, kind of a fun little activity there. See if there's a fun one before I do the management. Divide and conquer. I need to do that just as a whole session. But you know what? I think I'll do that next week. Divide and conquer. Good idea, Bonnie. Okay. Has anybody done? Hey,
Bonnie's giving herself a high five. So Bonnie wanted to give five assessments.
That's right. Spoken as a true I. You know, if we feel it deserves a compliment and it's not happening, we give it to ourselves. And I don't wait very long for the compliments. Did you notice that? Folks will tell me, oh, I wish I was an I. I go, you know what? It's exhausting to be an I. It's a lot to manage. You know, those of you at I know exactly what I'm talking about. So, yeah, next week. I mean, have any of you done the divide and conquer? Okay, then that's next week. It is so powerful, so very powerful. So if you want to take kind of a peek at it before I do it, it is 2 pages. It does take practice, but once you've done it once, you're totally sold on why it's so powerful an activity. Yeah, the others, I want to take more time. Okay, I want to show the management one. Anybody on the webinar that I talked about the management training for DISC? Anybody on that one?
No.
Okay. No, nobody? All right. So, oops, not that one. But this is a good example of how to take the PowerPoint and kind of, you know, make it your own for the group and take some shots of the people. And this is an older one when the disc looked a little differently. And but she had some fun things, I think, towards the end that had to do with the management. I can, yeah, this is neat. Oh, this one, situational leadership. Anybody familiar with situational leadership?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Love.
What I discovered is that most, managers, they actually manage according to their communication style. And really what they need to be doing is managing according to, how an employee's performance. I'm going to give you another slide that gives you like the whole overview. Oh, it's here, Bonnie, use it. Okay, so performance, this is Bonnie Byrne version of situational leadership, which I am certified with them 20 years ago, and I trained it, full day training, 3 years. Love it. But I'm actually need to patent this because I'm calling it benchmark management now. So this is a performance learning curve, and here's, say, a new employee on the job, yahoo! So I like to say, use skill, and like what's their attitude, fancy words are competency and commitment. So they're excited, don't know what they're really doing. Oh my gosh, a couple of weeks, and they're like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? But they've learned a little bit, hopefully a few more months. They've got more the hang of it, and then hopefully 6 months they're cranking as a peak performer. Those of you, situation leadership, can an employee be at one level with one of the responsibilities and then be at another level responsibilities? A responsibility number one at one level?
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So that's just kind of a side. So let's just say we're selecting answering the phone. So the way a manager, typically is supposed to manage is I look at it in terms of how involved is the manager to be in terms of making the decisions, and how do they go about motivating. So here it's tell them, and you're going to welcome them, but you don't need to do a lot of rah-rah. Here, you're going to review the outline, not as much detail, but you need to pour in a lot of management or a lot of emotional kind of support. Hang in there. This is what you're doing well, if they are. And then here, since they're doing pretty good, I believe what Ken Blanchard says, again, reinforce what you want repeated. So catch them doing things right is the best way to help them keep on track. And then yay, here, you're really wanting them to give a lot of ideas. So in terms of decision, mutual decision, or you may delegate to them. So the D style. The D style, let's say this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. The D style, and they say, I found this out years ago when I was doing this, 20 years ago when I was doing a pre-work before we did all fancy surveys and everything, in a Word doc, asking them to describe their management style. And some folks said, oh, I'm a delegator. Other folks, a coach. Oh, I'm into TQM. And I'm thinking like, well, at certain times. Okay, so the D loves to delegate or dump. So 1, 2, 3, 4, how do they typically manage their employees? As if the employee's at 1, 2, or 3, or 4, anybody? So they manage folks as if they're always a peak performer because they don't want to do any typically.
Correct. Right.
Okay. And they call it delegating, but it's typically dump. What are they doing to the employee who is down here just at the beginning?
Overwhelm them.
Overwhelm them, set them up for failure, actually.
Yes.
Well, the D's will say in their defense, yeah, I told them to come ask me if they have any questions, and we're like, nice try. The I's,
they already know it.
Right, exactly. And now, by the way, we're supposed to be ending right now. Does anybody need to go? And if you do, I totally understand. But
yeah, this is Sherry. I'm going to need to go because I've got a workshop at 1 o'clock. But thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Enjoy
You're welcome. Okay. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks for your help. You'll get your complimentary assessments.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Bon, it's me. I got to run too.
Okay, you got it. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks for your input too, always.
Always a pleasure. Everybody.
Thanks, dear. And the I's, love to do like the coaching. Oops, here we go. Where'd we go here? Where'd you put the I? No, there. Okay, so love to do the talking. So it's fine if they're in there really. You can do it and hang in there. But if they apply that to the peak performers, those peak performers are like, go away, you're weird, leave me alone, okay? They don't want all that, just, you know, kind of let me do the job. The S's, naturally, in situational leadership, development level 3 is what we call the performance. You know, this is where kind of, you know, they're on the same page, all are working out, and S is like, oh, we're all one family and one team, and that's all well and good, but if a new employee is starting out, they need that more specific. A lot of times what an S manager will say is, oh, well, I don't want to offend them. Let's see how they do. And they're thinking that they're helping the employee when, in fact, it often turns out to be a demotivation because this employee really does want to do a great job. So let's say they work for 6 months, okay, moving forward and doing things, and only to find out 6 months later from the S, like, well, that's not what I wanted. Well, now they've taken a motivated employee and really demotivated them, okay? The C's love all that accuracy, detail, the TQM stuff. That's fine kind of for the beginning, although you're probably already thinking, well, maybe not, because if this new employee is a D, okay, they're not going to want that. You're right. And they're probably going to want to tell the manager, I know all this. And what I encourage that manager to say to this wonderful D, who might not be as enlightened as they could be, is that's great, but, you know, I want to be sure you do have it in writing, okay, how we do it here at company ABC, okay? But anyway, that's fine here, but if somebody's a peak performer, what is the manager doing to that D4 level, peak performance? They are what? Management. That's right, major micromanagement. So it's fascinating to me with all the technological advances we've made that still most managers manage. I mean, we teach them about coaching, we teach, and all that's great. And I did for years management series. I would, by the way, first do the DISC styles. I would first do the DISC assessment in the series. So Steve, as you're thinking about your leadership academy, in June, you're waiting to launch later, but you know, I definitely encourage you to do it first. Why do I encourage you to do it first? Anybody have an idea why I encourage you to do it first? Because how are you able to capitalize on that during the rest of the series?
Yeah, I'd say so. Each individual's got to kind of recognize their style first to go kind of implement it and how they've been. I don't know. I can see how it'd be a benefit. Yeah. Okay. Steve, that was 3 you get. And what also happens is, you know, that leadership training, okay, becomes a wonderful laboratory for you during the whole series. So people start seeing the DISC in real time. And, you know, and then they start to kind of jive one another, whatever. And then also, as you are teaching them about writing performance expectations and giving constructive feedback, and okay, you're going to weave in there this DISC information. So if they are dealing with an I, okay, here, and they're kind of the development level 2, you know, the person's going to be, you know, somewhat emotional. There's a tendency for I's to be emotional. So this will help the manager, okay, how are they going to deal with that employee as well? So anyway, it's a big plus if you do use the DISC in the beginning. Okay. So
I agree, and I think that's where my little communication will come in on how you want to communicate with me. Actually, that's right. After the session.
I agree. Now, Steve, you're certified situational leadership?
I'm certified EI and just basic leadership training itself.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So does this make, oh, well, you just said, yeah, it did make sense. Okay. Was somebody else certified or uses situational leadership in training? It might have been one of the folks that had to leave. Okay. Let me then, Sherry, I'll have to show her. Sherry, are you still here? I think Sherry had to leave.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, it's just her name is still showing. I guess she just hasn't officially. I'll show you folks what I was going to be showing her by Melissa is, oh, here we go. I should have her name on there. I need to get that added because I like to give credit where credit is due. So this might be a simplified version, Sherry, or a version of what you're kind of doing. What Melissa came up with is that and when I say managers, I'm referring to supervisor, manager, leader. They put their DISC style and then list the names of their team members. And of course, it works best if the team has already taken the DISC. But if not, you certainly would be doing this, when we're doing the action plan on page 29 in the report. Give me 1 second here.
Bonnie, I'm going to have to go to a meeting.
Okay, thanks, Luke Marie. Okay, I'll add your complimentary.
Thank you.
Okay, dear. Thanks for all your great insight. That's great. Steve, you are getting a good intro before you take it in August.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Bonnie, I'm sorry. This is Candace. I'm going to have to step out as well.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you for everything, though. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So this is page 29 in the DISC report. So we typically would have them select a coworker, and if they said a D, was there characteristics that are a match, put a check mark. And then on the right-hand side, these are behaviors. One, if I was communicating with the D, I should consider using. So I do a little self-assessment, and I put an X by the tips for others that I'm currently using. And then what remains, I put a circle. So that becomes my action plan, and don't want to overwhelm myself. So then I put a star by 1 to get started. So let's say I put anticipate questions, and it's a D. So down here, action plan, then I would say, oh, I'm going to be meeting with, say, Tony on Tuesday to talk about budget, and I'm going to anticipate he's going to ask questions about where are we year to date, how do we compare with last year, where are we in the budget. So this is kind of a general one. This one is you could do this page instead in terms of start off with at least one employee, preferred style, what are their basic characteristics they can refer to as kind of a nice cheat sheet. Okay, this is page 29. What are some of the basic characteristics? And then they ask themselves, what's the, I need to write that down. Good idea, Bonnie. I need to put in an example. Do example. Melissa just gave this to us about 2 weeks ago. I was like, it's great. Do they feel like they're doing that there's effective communications with this employee? Great. If not, what might be some of the rough areas? And then what could they do about it? And so then, again, they can pull, in fact, from the leadership report, in the leadership report, you have 10 extra pages that have to do with that relationship between, again, when I say manager, I refer to supervisor, manager, or leader, okay, between that relationship, between them. So, for instance, this is talking about that, with the title, okay, you think you can get folks to do things by position power, but good luck on that one. What you really need, okay, is personal power. So where it's okay, you are respected, people think you're credible, all that kind of good stuff. So how does one gain that personal power? By how they treat their employees, of course, how they treat peers as well. So then this goes into more from the perspective of a manager. They're communicating, say, with a D, find and note areas where you already agree, which you could say, well, that would be true for any of them. But again, for any peer relationship. But again, you're looking at it, the kind of a twisting it, so it definitely applies for the manager employee. So Sarah, this format will give you the freedom to develop your branch the way you want, and still allow Vern and Ellen to structure theirs. So it's giving them specific feedback versus a peer isn't going to typically give this kind of feedback. This is kind of some direction per se. Okay. And then we've got it developing your people. So these are kind of the common competencies that a supervisor, manager, leader.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate
okay. So I think it's probably time to close. I hope this has been helpful.
Very helpful. Every little bit helps me. I appreciate that.
Great, 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 great. And I tell you what, those of you that stayed on, so let's see, June, you're still on, right?
I am.
Okay, and Steve, you're still on.
I am.
Okay, I think everybody else needed to go, so you guys get another. So June, how many? I think I have for you 5, 8. I think I have 9 complimentary for you. Does that sound right?
I'm doing a happy dance. You can't
okay,
see
good.
me.
I love it. Okay, I love it. And do you want self or leadership?
Leadership, please.
Okay. And then Steve, 3, 6. You get 7. And
Thank you. Leadership.
So you probably want leadership ones too.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, you folks. And by the way, FYI, this will get. I'm going to stop recording. Thank you all for joining.